Hey everybody, and welcome back to the second channel. Today I'm going to go through how to play my song Rain, and it's by far my most covered song, and for a few good reasons in that I think it's one of my strongest out of the solo guitar stuff. It's also maybe almost the oldest, almost as old as Summer. It's almost 10 years, and it is by far the simplest. So it relies super heavily on delay. So you will need a delay pedal to play it, and that's part of the fun here, in that you can kind of just lay back and play this really simple song, but it sounds like something really, really intense. And that makes it fun to play for people who, you know, maybe don't play guitar and haven't heard of a delay pedal before, because they think you're pulling off something way more impressive than you are. So yeah, your guitar also is going to be in a little bit of a different tuning. You can play, you know, 99.9% of the song in standard, and sometimes when I play it on tour I even just do that just to make sure I don't forget about changing the tuning. But there's one note in there that does need to be open, and that's the C note on the B string. So I tune up the B string a half step to that, and it does come at a really important part, but you can play it without. Alright, well, let's get back to the song. So the whole song is based around delay, and here's how you're going to be using it. So I have the delays volume set at 100%. So the first delayed note is going to be just as loud as the notes that you're playing, and that's really important. I also have the feedback level set at about 20%. So the note kind of sticks around for a little while. There's more than just one delayed note coming afterwards. And that's important too, because if you have the feedback set really high, then it's just gonna get kind of crazy. So feedback at about 20, and then I always couple the song with a whole bunch of reverb. But for this lesson, I think I'm just gonna keep that off for now. So can you hear him too? Well done, Ike. Well done. Whoa. Okay, well, I'm gonna try to keep... He's so annoying when I film. He just needs to be... I mean, if he's in front of the camera, you know, it's fine, because it's funny. But sometimes he'll just tip stuff over, like he was earlier when we were filming for the main channel video. So, cat stuff aside, what was I talking about again? Okay, so the delay pedal is set at 100% volume with a little bit of feedback. You'll probably want to use reverb, but I'm not going to for now. And then the timing is a bit of a tricky thing, and it's a bit of a tricky thing to learn. And that's just going to take a little bit of trial and error on your side, see, Ike, to figure that out. So I have it a little bit slower actually right now than I do in the original version, and that's because I think it's a little bit easier to play. You know, not that this song isn't easy enough, but it's a little bit easier to play with it slower, and I just like it a little bit slower than the original. So I've been playing it live a little bit on the slower side, but you can, you know, figure out what speed you would like it at. I've seen some covers where people play it really, really fast, and that's super cool too. So I have it about, I don't know, about that. So I would suggest, if you're, you know, new to playing with delay, it's a little bit weird, or I certainly found it to be weird at first, to play with a delayed version of myself. So I would suggest having it really, really slow at first to just get used to the timing about it, about the song, because it is a little bit weird. And what you're going to be doing timing-wise is you're going to be playing notes really quick and staccato-like. And for most of it too, it's going to be palm muted, so the notes are like real, just a lot of attack on them, I guess. So really quick notes, and you're using the delay to fill in the gaps in between them. And they're filling in the gaps in a way where your delayed note, so if this is the note, maybe I'll do like a graphic. These are the notes. The delayed notes are going to come as the upbeat of the next note you're playing. So you're going to be listening for this. And then the delay is going to fill in the gaps, and it's going to sound like this. I know it's a little bit faster than I was expecting. So when I'm playing too, it's really important for me to think of the quickness of the notes, if that makes sense, the staccato-ness. So actually when I'm playing, I kind of like pretend like I'm hammering on the notes with my left hand to just keep them, you know, pretty quick. That might help you, that might not. Definitely helps me. And there's also a tab in the description as well as the Guitar Pro, and that'll help you learn it rather than me just throwing out a bunch of numbers in this video. And the way I see the song is it's based around, you know, just a few shapes. And the first shape here is on the A string. It starts in a different place, but on the A string you got your second finger on the 5th fret of the A string, then you got 3rd fret, first finger, then 5th again with your 3rd finger. And you're just arpeggiating that, just going up and down the notes there. And that's the first shape. And the song actually starts over here, so it starts same riff, just an octave up. So that would be the 17th fret. And another thing about how the song kind of progresses, the song is really repetitive, so one thing that is really important to the escalation of the song is that when you start out, it's really, really quick notes and really, really palm muted. So I try for the very beginning to play, and really, really soft. So at the beginning I try to play really, really quietly and palm muted, you know, just enough to where there is a note there. It's not just percussive, but super palm muted at the beginning, really quiet, and then as you progress through the song, you go from that to, you know, palm muted but playing pretty hard, and then not palm muted, and then where you're holding out the notes, but that's later. So anyway, getting a bit sidetracked. I do really like this tuning. This is the only song I have in this tuning, but I would like to use it more because it's really pretty. So anyway, we got that first shape, 5-3-5. And then it has that little transition on the G string, 5-5-3-2, and moves on to the next shape. And at the beginning, you're playing it here. And it sounds like, I could use some practice on the current timing I have. And then it moves on to the next shape, which is 3-1-3, excuse me, 3-2-3. Same fingers you were using before, just moved over, and then same pattern. And it ends with a little bit of a different transition. So this shape, that transition, this one, G string, 3-3-2-3 on the D, and this is all on the tab. Then it moves on to the next shape, which is 5-3-2, same strings. I use my pinky finger, 2nd and 1st. And that doesn't have any transition in there. And it just moves on to the next shape, which is almost the same. So far you've been just going through those 3 notes of that chord and using a transition. And same here with those 3 notes. And then you move to a 4-note shape, which is the same as that, but you add in the 1st fret of the A string. It's been a while since I've done a lesson video. Is this helpful? I hope so. So those last 2 shapes there are pretty straightforward in that there's no transition. So the last one, first 2 notes are on the A string, 1st fret, 5th, and I'm still remembering to keep it really staccato. Later on I do something a little bit different there. Start there, go through the other shape, 1st fret, 5th, 3rd, 2nd on the next 2 strings. So far we got, what you're going to be listening for is and And that is pretty much the basis of the song, and we kind of switch things around going forward. There's a few more chords, a few more shapes. So the very beginning of the song, let me get this timing done, is exactly what we just learned, but up here. So let me do it without the delay actually. And you're gonna have the palm muting be pretty extreme, almost to the point where there's almost no notes there, and really quiet on the picking. And then I kind of ramp up the volume at the end, but still really heavy on the palm muting. And then for that very last note, I try to really slide it all the way down. Sometimes I don't get it all the way, but you want a bit of a slide. So heavy palm muting, first shape, onto the second shape, third shape. Then you start ramping up the volume. And get that slide in there as much as you can. And then that with delay, let me get the timing here. So, geez, I'm having trouble with this right now. And that is the beginning. It sounds way harder than it actually is, which is a whole lot of fun. So after that, you then play the same exact thing, but over here where we first learned it. And I kind of get off the palm muting a little bit here. And I start to play with like a normal picking strength. And it goes through twice. There's a little bit of a change here. I added in an extra note that's not supposed to be there. So far we've gone through that same exact 4 chords, 4 shape structure. We've just done it from here with super heavy palm muting, really quiet, to here, regular picking strength, not so quiet, kind of regular palm muting. Oh, my camera's gonna turn off. Okay, I'm back. So we went from the same exact pattern from here with really heavy palm muting and quiet, slide down to same pattern here, and then one more time over here with a little bit of a difference. So the transition from the first shape to the second one is, let me do it without the delay, is you add in that 7th fret. So instead of 5-5-3-2, it's 7-5-3-2, but that is the only change. And I usually kind of accent that note a little bit and lay off the palm muting a tiny bit. So. And then it just goes through the same thing. Then here's where, so we've gone through the same pattern 3 times now. And at this point, we're moving into some other shapes, some other chords, and I kind of start ramping up the volume a bit, start to ease off of the palm muting. And the next shape is, let me play through it again. And this is what you're gonna be listening for. And what you're listening for in the delay is almost like kind of a hoedown type of vibe. So at this point, I'm starting to like increase the volume, and I move to this new shape. Instead of 1st fret, 5th, 3rd, 2nd, as we've been doing, I just get rid of the 1st fret and do open. And at this point, I try to, as I go along with the song, this happens a few more times in the song, maybe just once, but for that open note, I actually let it stay open. It's not as staccato as the other ones. So I'm like, so I'm trying to leave that open a bit more. And then later on in the song, I will also do that with the 1st fret, if that makes sense. So yeah, so the ending of that would be, here's where you start ramping up. Then to the next one. There's 2 more shapes there. Starting to play a little bit louder. So the next 2 shapes after that are, you got the 3rd fret, got the G on the E string there, and then the 3rd fret on, you skip a string to the D, and then 3-2 on the G. No transition there, and then just do an F bar chord, going straight down. So first fret, third, third, second. You go through this twice. Bringing up the volume, and for the second way through, actually, I forgot I do this thing where for the second time through, I let this one note ring out. So let me play all that through to make sense of it. So going through this kind of G shape to the F chord, and then here's where that changes. So I try to have that, you know, ring out for a little bit, and it comes through with the delay. Let that note really shine. And I ramp up the volume, but I only do that hold out on that A note there this second time around. So let's play everything we have so far. This will be kind of a long video. So we start out over here an octave up with those shapes we learned, and really heavy palm muting, pretty quiet. Transition, second shape to the third, just arpeggiate it, start ramping up the volume to the slide. Just the main riff, second shape, and we repeat, and I screw up a little bit. Here's that change. Throw on that 7th fret there, but everything else is the same. And then here where you start ramping up the volume again, open, then to the 2 new shapes. No hold out there, F chord, then here we do the hold out. Then really ramp it up. And then it goes back to, we're gonna play that whole thing again with a few changes. So here's the tricky part. Here's the part when I play it live where I start to get a little bit nervous. So now that we've ramped up the volume to a higher degree, we are now going to only have one note in here be palm muted, or at least I try that to be the case. And that's just this one. So we're back to this shape. Let me turn the delay off. And this is the first one is the only one I want palm muted. And the one after it I actually let ring. I said that weird. I let the next note ring. So I'm gonna keep my first finger on that 3rd fret and just gonna go. So that's kind of what I'm concentrating on. Just this one is palm muted, this one rings out, and then this other one is still staccato. So, but that 3rd continues to ring out. Or I could even do it a bit better, like. And so that's a little bit tricky. And then it goes into, we do that same different transition we did the second time around with the other. It's getting confusing. Anyway, the 7, 5, 3, 2. Once we come back into the riff, we're gonna do that, but we're gonna add a note to all of those notes. We do thirds there with the notes that we were originally doing on the G string, and then, man, I hope this lesson video isn't super confusing. It's all on the tabs. So the chords are the thirds, and it's important to keep those staccato, and they come by pretty quick. So 8, 7, 7, 5, 5, 3, 3, 2. So this part is the trickiest part of the song. So, and yeah, all together it sounds like. And then here's where that different tuning comes in. So now for some of it, we're gonna accent that G string with an open B string, which is now a C. So let's play through this again. And after those chords, I also forgot to mention, now you're done with palm muting. You're on to just regular picking, still staccato notes though, bringing the song up towards the finale. And here as well. Oops. So for those, I guess it's 3 or 4 times, you're gonna strum not just that G string there, but also the next string, which is that B that you tuned up to C. And then it goes to the rest of what we've learned so far, but just really, really ramping it up. So let me play the whole thing without the delay. And then really ramping it up. And if some strings just vibrate openly, that's totally fine. Adds to the intensity at this part. Then you hold that out. Kind of screwed it up. And then for the very end of the song, instead of arpeggiating that F bar chord, we just let all the notes ring out. So. And then it goes back to kind of the style, the playing we were doing at the very beginning, which is really soft picking and super palm muted. And then that slows down until we catch up with the delay. And that's the song. So let's go through all of that. I think I might have gone through it a bit too quick. I'll do it with the delay. So this is the very last run through of it. Start with this part, which I remember because of this 3rd fret that you have ring out. And then those tough chords. Hardest part of the song. Let me do it again. It's hard to talk while doing it. Open C. Open C again. And at this point, you're not doing any palm muting. And you're starting to hit it pretty hard. And about this time, you're starting to get to about as hard as you can possibly pick. Hold this out. Then goes back to the beginning. Style of playing. Again, just on that F chord. And then you slow it down. Then I also like at that point, for if you're playing for an audience of non-guitar players, I time the delayed note to end it, the delayed strum, but I strum right in front of the strings to make it look like I'm doing it, just to continue the illusion, maybe for some people, that I actually am playing every single note. And there's one thing in there that I also forgot to mention. When you go to playing as hard as you possibly can, and you're still doing the staccato, really quick notes for that F chord, I start strumming for the just very last, I think, 3 hits. My camera's about to turn off. Whew, this is a long lesson. Okay, I strum these two notes at the top of that F bar chord that we're doing, and it kind of gets me set up to just hold down the bar chord. So I do that right before things get their most intense. So I think there's 3 strums there, but it is all single notes up until this point. So it kind of sounds like, sorry. No. Okay. There it is. And then back to slow. Or not slow, but quiet. And then I slow it down until it's about this speed where it's just along with the delay. And And then when I want to end it, I pretend to strum the last chord. But it is a little bit tricky to end it with a strum right when you want it, with that also being the delay. So that'll just take some practice. And that is Rain. And this is a way too long video. I guess I did a lesson video for this a really, really long time ago. And I remember thinking I just didn't do that good of a job, or that it might have been a bit confusing. I'm hoping this is a bit better. Seemed about time to revisit it. And I think this is just a really fun song to learn, and I would like to encourage more people learning it, because yeah, it's a fun one. It's a reason to get a delay pedal. It's actually the reason I got my first amp, was because it had delay in it, because I wrote this song on that amp like 9 years ago. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. I hope this helped. I hope it wasn't a complete waste of your time. This is the second channel, so here's Duck, and have a good one.